So happy like almost spring, like, let's see, what is today? Today's the 3rd. So there's 19 days. 19 days till spring. Is that right? Till official spring. And, but we're March 20th? So 21st. Okay, so that makes it what? 18 days? All right. So we're almost to spring, huh? So did I hear somebody say they got trees planted?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, what'd you plant?
Pine trees, sawtooth, I think Wes made that name up. And oaks. Because they produce paper.
Of course I do.
It's like those are fake corn, but they're deer friendly.
Right, they are deer friendly. Yes, they are deer friendly. And if it's a specific kind of oak, and I can't tell you which one it is, you can use, I think it's the tannin, and I don't remember if it's in the shells or in the leaves, but it's that tannin that tans the hides. That's why they call it tanning. It's a substance in either the leaves or the things from the oak tree, and it's called tannin. Yeah. Anyway, just that tidbit of knowledge. That's to go like this. Okay? All right, so prayers? Anybody need praying? We're all in happy health. Everything's good. Oh, and how's that going? Oh. I can only imagine. Okay, so we don't want that. Okay. All right. Father God, I am so grateful that we can come here tonight and just be in such a wonderful spring state that we don't have anybody that's hurting. We don't have anybody that's sick. We don't have anybody that's trying to change their life in a way that's going to need your help. And I just praise you for that. Thank you, Jesus. Okay. So Pam is going to come and try to help me sing a song. Right? Kind of, sort of. So I haven't heard this song in probably more years than most of you are alive. And so I can't figure out where to come in on the second verse. So if you guys know where to come in on the second verse, you can help, okay? That's okay. Neither do I.
Who is that?
What do you want me to do with this?
Just hold it.
Put another log on the fire. Cook me up some bacon and some beans. Go out to the car and tire. Wash my socks and sew my old blue jeans. Come on, baby, you can fill my pipe and then go fetch my slippers. Pour me up another pot of tea. Then put another log on the fire, babe. And come and tell me why you're leaving me. Now don't I let you wash the car on Sunday? And don't I warn you when you're getting fat? And ain't I gonna take you fishing with me someday? Well, a man can't love a woman more than that. Ain't I always nice to your kid sister? Don't I take her driving every night? So sit here at my feet, 'cause I like it when you're sweet. And you know it ain't feminine to fight. we're off. See, I know we're off. Tell me why you're leaving me. All these songs are so funny. Put another log on the fire. Cook me up some bacon and some beans. Go out to the car and change the tire. Wash my socks and sew my old blue jeans. Come on, baby, you can fill my pipe and then go fetch my slippers. Pour me up another pot of tea. Then put another log on the fire, babe. And come and tell me why you're leaving me. Good job, Pam.
Is it on?
Did it? It never was on? Oh dear.
I don't know.
Oh yeah, there's Bob and Denise. Well, we
Is it
did
on
a
now?
good-
Hello. Woo-hoo. Can you? Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Couple of good.
Made me sing that all by myself anyway. Come on in. So you guys are probably wondering, what in the world kind of song is that for church, huh? Good point. So I picked that one on purpose, okay? All right. So we talk about it. We sing about it. We think we know what it is. Billboard magazine provided a recent study from the Journal of Advertising Research that over the past 60 years, the theme that has charted the most top 10 in songs on Billboard 100 was songs about the loss of love and the longing it creates. So, tonight we're going to talk about love, or the lack thereof, and the possible gaining back thereof. So, what do you guys think love is? You got a definition? When you say, oh, I love that, what are you saying? Yeah? That you like it a lot? Yeah? Any other ideas? Okay. Well, you can say, I like it a lot. I get good feelings. I care. I do something. Yes, Ram? What do you think? Okay. Goodwill in action. That's what my grandpa always said love was. And then we used to have a pastor. He was a philosopher. You know what that is? A philosopher is somebody that sits there and thinks. Kind of like Bob, sits there and thinks. And he said that love was the opposite of indifference. Not hate, but indifference. Okay, so if you were to go into any church and ask a Christian what love is, they're probably going to say, I know, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, the love chapter. Does anybody remember what that says? Okay. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not jealous, does not brag, is not arrogant, doesn't act unbecomingly, does not seek its own way, not provoked, doesn't take into account suffered wrongs, does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Above all, love never fails. So I got a question. I look around today and I see a lot of love failing. Kind of like that song where the guy is saying, go do this and this and this and this and then come and tell me why you're leaving me, huh? So the divorce rate in America for the past several years is about 50%. And I'm thinking that there's a correspondence between those 60 years of those love songs about failed love and 50% of divorce rate. So, Should we say, now catch these words, okay, kids? Should we say that love is conditional? Do you know what that means? Love is conditional. That means that I have to be the puppy that sits up and begs for a treat to get my treat. Or should we say that love is unconditional? Or something else? Well, let's use 1 Corinthians 13 as our measuring stick. Do you see people everywhere being kind and thoughtful and patient? I do. Whether they're in the church or not. Whether they're Christians or not. I see them being that way. Now, Pam's going to like this because I mentioned one of her favorite things here. Any time spent watching TV dramas depicts all sorts of heroes showing feeling and receiving kindness and genuineness and making sure their care is given. Anybody watching Grey's Anatomy or Call the Midwife, of course you got to get past all the young and loose morals and foolish stuff going on in there, but throughout those particular series, there is a thread of caring that is amazing, okay? Then we see all sorts of different abusive relationships that manipulate and corrupt the sense of love. When that happens, instead of being love, it's abuse, an addiction. Women who've lived like this tell me that they are unable to leave their abuser. Some believe that he'll come after them and do them harm. Some believe that their own love can change their husband, that other person. So they try their best and stay there. And usually it gets worse. So then I have question number 2. How can it be, if God is love, that we can see his type of love outside of the Christian faith? So, once again, is love conditional, unconditional, or something else? We want unconditional love, don't we? We yearn for a love that says, okay, I understand where you're coming from, and my love will justify all those feelings you have, all those behaviors you do, and the way you treat others. I'll love you even if you're the worst scum dog on the planet, just because you're you. We want to come to love and cuddle up close, have everything made just right, and we don't have to do a thing. Is that what we want? Do you think it is? Really? Well, I'm going to take you to the Good Samaritan. Do you remember the parable of the Good Samaritan? Okay. In our story tonight, that's in Luke 10, if anybody needs that. In our story tonight, there was a man who was traveling, and the highway robbers jumped him. And he fought his best fight, but there were too many of them. And he was fighting for the things that he owned, the things that he didn't own but belonged to somebody else, and he was fighting for his life. Do you ever feel like you're tired of fighting? Me too. So here's this battered man, and he's laying face down in a ditch, right? And the first guy that comes along is a priest, so like a pastor, like me, okay? The priest came along and saw him. Let's pretend he's right here. Yeah. Okay, just stand there. You don't have to get in the dirt. Just stand there. Okay. You're there. You're the man face down in the dirt. Okay. I'm coming along. I'm the priest, right? I'm coming along. I see you, and I go, oh, I better leave him alone. And I come way over here so I don't have to look at him. That's what that priest does. Can you imagine that? So he's still laying there. He's bleeding. He's bruised, got some broken bones. And a Levite comes along. Now, a Levite is like one step higher in the hierarchy of pastorate, right? And he came along, and he saw that man laying in the ditch, and he goes, Whoa, there's somebody over there in that ditch. Wonder if he's okay. Oh, man, he's really beaten up. Whew, I better get away from that. And off he goes. Okay? We're good. Then the Samaritan came along and saw him and had compassion. Whoa, stop there. What just happened? Very interesting. In the world today, there's a book running around out there called Real Love. It's written by a medical professional. And here's what he says about unconditional love. He says, it is not unconditional love when other people like us for doing what they want, and that we're paying for love because we're doing what they want. Then he says we can be certain that we're receiving unconditional love only when we make foolish mistakes. Now, I got this right out of the book, okay? When we fail to do what other people want, and even when we get in their way, but they're not going to be disappointed in us. Huh? Okay, one more time. It's not unconditional love if we do what they want us to do. Okay? But we can be certain that it is if we do what they want. Okay, scratch my head. Then he goes on. When we make seemingly poor choices about our lives, take a wrong turn, sabotage our own happiness, stuff like that, that unconditional love keeps others right there, not judging or punishing, but loving without conditions. Is that true for that song? No. Interesting. So then he finishes with his definition, that it's love alone that has the power to heal all wounds. Now, we could say that's true, but I'm not sure it's what he's talking about here. But it does sound good, doesn't it? That love really does create healing, and we know that God's love can. So, back to the story of the Good Samaritan. Let's see how closely we're going to call it the current acceptable world definition for unconditional love. Can you guys say that? Current acceptable world definition for unconditional love. So, CAWDU. Okay? So first for the priest. Now keep in mind that it's not unconditional if we have to pay it. Okay? So here's the priest. I want to suggest to you that priest saw this man and said, oh, gee, too bad for you. It looks like you've had a bit of hard luck, but I accept you just the way you are. You made a bad choice in coming this way and took a wrong turn, and you got all these bruises and battering, and they took all your goods, and now you're flat in the ditch, but best to you. And, oh, by the way, I accept you as you are. I won't change anything for you. Good luck. Okay. Then here comes the Levite, and he goes, oh, yes, I see you there in your misery, but because I'm supposed to accept you in all things that you say you are, I accept you just as you are. I see you made a mistake and let the robbers beat you up. I see you failed to meet the expectations of the people whose goods you are delivering. I see you are choosing to lay there in that ditch, so you don't have to face them. May the peace and love of God be with you as you lay in that ditch hurting and miserable and without worldly goods. Blessings to you. Lie there in peace. I mean, really, right? Okay. The new church. To me, and you can feel about this different, it's just to me, this is the essence of love with no conditions. The love that can pass you by and not do anything. Okay? Unconditional love, as I understand it, coming from the current accepted world definition of unconditional love. Okay. Not necessary to meet any expectations. Don't have to worry about poor choices, wrong turns, bad behaviors, beliefs, consequences. So, is there something different about God's love than the current acceptable world definition of unconditional love? Let's go explore that a little bit. We want to see an unconditional love, which God brings to us no matter where we are, and rescues us, cuddles us. But wait, if this is true, that we're rescued and cuddled, we're no longer in that current acceptable world definition of unconditional love, the one that just passes you by. To rescue and cuddle means that we're recipients. Recipients means something will come from bad decisions. Something is happening to us and for us. Something is being applied. Remember Romans 8:28 that says all things work together for those that love God? Yeah. Something is happening, and this work is grace. That's what it's called. And it's a position of love that changes things. It looks at the conditions we're in, from the poor choices of our beliefs, and considers us worthy of rescuing, picking up, cuddling, and beginning to eliminate the pain, and to find a purpose for your life after that. The love of God considers a life worth rescuing as a life that meets the conditions of His love. So, in our currently accepted world definition of unconditional love, if that's true and that it leads to healing, then I'm curious why the overall theme of the past 60 years of the top 100 in Billboard are love songs about failed love. So there's something in the definition that's not quite right, isn't it? Yes, but we're saying that God is love. And if that's true, then we shouldn't be hurting if He's rescuing us, right? So, are we able on our own to comply with an ideal of love when we think that somebody is expecting something from us or not? Is it reasonable to think that God expects nothing from us? Well, let's go back to our man in the ditch. Let's say he's the one with this definition of unconditional love. And here we find that he's given everything with no expectation of anything in return. He's a businessman. I'm not sure that'd be right. He might as well die right there. He has no hope of someone finding him. No hope that anybody's going to care. No hope of recovery. So it's my position that when I apply the current accepted definition of unconditional love to any situation, I take away any hope right there. And it brings me to a place where there is no give and take within a relationship, no partnership, no teamwork, no us. So, going back to 1 Corinthians 13, let's break that down a little bit and see what love that God has really is, okay? Love is patient. Of course love is patient. Love is patience with a child learning to walk because that parent knows that the child will not only walk but run and then leave home. Patient love is a love full of hope and expectations, not about taking wrong turns or making mistakes and learning nothing from them. Love is kind. What kind of love would we have if it weren't kind? Okay, I know tough love sometimes feels far from kind, but in the end, kindness prevails. Why do we need kindness of love even in tough love? Could it be that merely accepting mistakes that have been made all need application of something to make them better? Something about picking it up, turning it around, and patting it on its way. Love is not jealous. If I were to call any explanation of love that would fit the definition of unconditional love in the world's terms, it would be this one. Here, the giving person is so full and so sure that there's no need to think that they should be jealous. In other words, this almost pushes against an I don't care button. Could it be, instead, that love is not jealous because it not only sees itself as full, but also sees others in the light of hope? Can it see in actions, behaviors, and beliefs new possibilities of becoming honorable and trustworthy? Love does not brag. You know, when I was growing up, we were taught not to brag on ourselves. And then I went to work in the corporate world, and I discovered that if I didn't toot my own horn every once in a while, I would go completely unnoticed, even if my work was exemplary. You know what that word means? It means grade A. So, shouldn't love be so lived out that others see it in us? Kind of like you're the only Bible that somebody might be able to read. Love is not arrogant and doesn't act unbecomingly. This one stands to reason. No matter how you stack it, if I come up to you and say, I'm better than you, you're going to really think about who I am. You're going to sit there and say, I don't think so. I don't think I like her. Love does not seek its own. Here's where the Christian community has combined the definition of love with our current accepted definition, world definition of unconditional love. It's the process of laying down our life for our brother. Now, we've heard that one so many times. But how does this work? Are we to lay down our life for our brother because they took a wrong turn or made a bad choice? Do we accept the consequences of their behavior? I've seen this played out with parents and children. Not that there's any of them here. It never ends well. Now, perhaps the other we seek is Christ. Then we can express his love to others in fairness. Love is not provoked. It doesn't take into account suffered wrongs. This is the basis of forgiveness. And I think this is the part of love that really makes the difference as far as where God's love is and where all other love is. It's in forgiveness. Forgiveness may be implied in the current accepted world definition, but it's expected for us. In the Lord's Prayer, we ask God to forgive us as we forgive others. This is a huge condition. Why do we forgive? Well, he forgave us. Luke 12:48 gives us a statement that God gives us much in him, and much is expected because of that. Forgiveness in our definition is because he cannot move forward until we do. Forgiveness may be the closest thing we have to being truly unconditional toward others in our love, because so many times we cannot expect those who deliberately hurt us to seek us out and beg us for forgiveness. Most of the time they won't do that. So, love does not rejoice in unrighteousness because it bears all things, it hopes all things, it endures all things. When that Good Samaritan happened upon the scene of the man in the ditch, you know what he did? He dragged him out of that ditch, and he bound up his wounds, and he took him to an inn. You know what an inn is? Do you remember what an inn is? It's like a hotel. Yep. Took him to an inn where he could heal and be taken care of. We could suppose that here's this man And he's fulfilling the definition of love. That's the Good Samaritan, okay? He went and he helped this person move on from what went wrong in his life. And when he did that, he left plenty of room for that man and God to figure out how he could go forward from there. I mean, he lost everything. If everything he had belonged to his supervisor, his bosses, somebody he was selling stuff for, I mean, he had to figure out how to either pay for it or get it back or something. I mean, that's a God thing there. He'd have to figure that out. So, I think it might be fair to say that our currently accepted definition of unconditional love, say that one more time with me. Currently accepted definition of unconditional love that's stated from this author cannot hold a candle to the love God gives us. It cannot provide the healing that we need because it doesn't give us a place to go. It doesn't tell us how to go. It doesn't give us hope. Jesus, the love I want from you is a love that teaches me to be more like you every day. I want to know how and why your love is expressed to me and from me into the lives of others. To say that I accept a person without judgment or punishment or expectations is not loving him in the way I see played out in this story of the Good Samaritan. Help me to learn to walk surely in the love that you give. Love that hopes, love that expects the best, love that values, love that provides. Thank you for all the times that you have applied your love to get me out of my ditches of bad choices, wrong turns, and mistakes. Because of your love, I don't have to stay there, and no one else does either. I can become loving to others because I acknowledge your love by my changes. I can express it outwards to others. Help others see you in me. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, Miss Pam. I'll try to put back on my glasses here. I was having a problem seeing through them. Yeah, me too. Hit me, baby. Doodle-doodle-doodle-doodle-doodle.